Oh, what's that? We got another episode of Morbid News. Welcome. Happy Easter/Passover, a time where we celebrate a man coming back from the dead. If this happened now, we would totally freak out about the zombie apocalypse. But like 2,000 years ago, totally normal. I like my coffee like I like my men. Brewed by Satan. Now, I got a lot of news to cover today. I missed a few things last week, so I'm going to go over all those now because they're just too good to pass up. And some of you might not have heard of these anyway, so let's get started. So first off, I'd like to start with the Nexium cult. I don't know if any of you have been following this, but Nxivm is a cult that was originally created by Keith Raniere, and it was all about a self-help organization. They would get women to join in these classes that were more like about meeting other women and networking. It was really geared towards, actresses and women who were in business that wanted to get ahead. That's like a very base level of what this cult ended up being. What it actually is like a huge sex cult where he basically enslaved women as sex slaves to him. And one of his best agents for kind of collecting women was Allison Mack, who you might know from Smallville. She was arrested last year and has pled guilty to racketeering. She has openly admitted that she would, lure women in with this cult, this idea of you're going to meet so many interesting people, you're going to get ahead in life, and was trying to get all these different actresses. At one point she tweeted at Emma Watson, hey, Emma, do you want to be a part of this great community? And of course Emma Watson was didn't even respond to that. So she got pretty much trapped into this cult and became basically his right-hand woman. He's like the Lilith to the Lucifer, now she's saying that, he lured her in and did this stuff, and maybe he did brainwash her. I don't know, but maybe she just was power tripping. But this whole story is just so crazy. She's being sentenced later this year, and each one of her charges she faces up to 20 years for each one, and there's multiple counts of racketeering, and she's not even right now being sentenced for all the sex slave stuff. So she definitely lost her way a little bit there. This whole story is crazy, and if you want to know more about it, there's plenty of podcasts and interviews, and women were literally branded by Raniere and Allison Mack. There are women out there who are branded with their initials. This is how deep this cult would go. And not only that, but they would get women to do what they wanted because they would ask for some kind of leverage, some blackmail, something like a video or evidence of something wrongdoing that they didn't want revealed to the public. So once they had that information, they'd say, if you tell anyone about what we do, we'll expose, this affair, this thing that you're doing, whatever. So that's how they kind of scared women into submission. And this whole thing is nuts. I think cults are fascinating, and this one is a very modern day cult. And if you want to know more about it, just type in Nxium, how do you spell this? Type in Nxium into Google, Nxivm. Stupid ass spelling, but it's a very interesting story, and I'm kind of still looking into it. Every time I see more information on it, I check it out, but a lot of it seems to be pinned around Allison Mack right now, which it's not her fault. Maybe she was lured in, but really Keith Raniere is the puppet master behind all this. And at one point he fled to Mexico, but I think they got him back, and he will also be tried and sentenced, probably something really intense. But yeah, cults are a scary thing. Our next story is a little bit older. I think it happened 2 or maybe a week and a half ago, but it's just too good to pass up. The irony is just too great for me. A rhino poacher was trampled to death by an elephant. So first of all, he's poaching. He's out there killing for game for rhino tusks or whatever it is, and he got trampled by an elephant. Serves you right. Sorry, rest in peace, I guess. But the best part was that when they retrieved what was left of him, it was just a human skull and a pair of pants because he was eaten by lions. And you know, it's a short, sweet, and to the point story. Don't be a poacher, dude. I mean, I feel like this is a life lesson. Like, if you're gonna mess with nature, nature's gonna mess right back with you. Animals, be cray. Like, you can't control these wild animals, and maybe, like, don't get too close to an elephant. Like, who even wants ivory at this point? If someone was like, hey, I have this beautiful piece of jewelry made of pure ivory, I'd be like, you asshole, you probably killed an elephant for that. What's wrong with you? Elephants are awesome. Elephants are so much better than humans. Like, I would rather be living with elephants than humans. I mean, in the end, yeah, it's sad that, you know, there's not much left to give to his kids in terms of a body, but also, like, you're a poacher. The next story is kind of sad, but again, this is morbid news, and I'm morbid, so I thought this was perfect for this. A British comedian, Incognito, died during a performance. It was a stand-up. He's, you know, just doing a random stand-up routine, and at one point, I guess he started joking, like, oh, it'd be hilarious if I just, like, fell over and died on stage. Proceeded to fall over and die on stage about a minute later, and nobody did anything for a couple minutes because they didn't know that he had actually just died. I mean, if you're gonna go out with a bang, you know, like, go out with style, and this guy totally did. Like, I mean, I don't even know what else to say to that. Kudos, you know, like, I don't know him personally, obviously, and I don't know his stand-up routine, but he seemed like, you know, a stand-up guy. But it is unfortunate. But at least he died doing what he loved. He made people laugh until the very end when he literally died on stage. I don't think this is the first time a comedian's died on stage. I think I read something like this a few years ago with another comedian, but the best part is that he probably felt like something was coming, like maybe he was like having a heart attack like in the middle of it and was just like, you know what? Go with the joke. Go with the flow. Just go right into it. Just steer the wheel right into that, and rest in peace. I do mean it about this guy. Poacher, though, go to hell. This next story is kind of sad. Then again, this wouldn't be morbid news if I didn't talk about it. An Indian man cut his own finger off after he voted for the wrong party. So, Pawan Kumar, I'm going to definitely butcher all the names that I'm about to say, sorry in advance, was trying to vote for the Bahujan Samaj Party in the second election of the northern state of Uttar Pradesh. For some reason, his finger slipped, and he pressed on the wrong party, the Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party, and he felt so racked with guilt for voting for the wrong thing. I guess he's trying to fix it and couldn't. I guess there's no take-backs on the voting machines in India. He felt so bad about it that he went home and chopped his own finger off. Now, I've voted in a few elections, and honestly, I think all politicians are probably at least a little evil. I don't think there's a clean politician out there. I've never felt so bad about my vote that I was like, I'm gonna go cut off my own hand or whatever. I think there's just a lot of political turmoil in India, and this guy couldn't handle accidentally voting for, like, what he might think is, like, an evil party. It's just a sad story. I mean, he went to the hospital, he was fine. This is just an interesting story of how politics are like in different places. Here, people wouldn't bat an eye about voting for Trump. But in India, this guy felt so bad about a mistake he made while voting that he hurt himself. And that's just kind of, like, sad to think this is the world we live in right now. And now for our last story, which is decidedly less depressing than all the ones that came before this. This is great. I don't know if y'all are Game of Thrones fans. Pretty much everyone freaking is. But I saw this article about a legal brothel in Nevada, and they say that Game of Thrones is the most role-played thing, show or whatever idea in their brothel. A lot of people like to dress up as Daenerys and Sansa, which makes sense because they're hot. But what really surprised me is there's also a lot of people that like to do Theon Greyjoy, which is weird, I guess, if you want to pretend you got nothing between the legs. There you go. This is a place called Sherry's Ranch. Don't forget, if you're in Nevada and you want to do this, Sherry's Ranch. But they said one of the most surprising and requested role plays is the shaming scene for Cersei Lannister. Apparently they got a lot of people who want to pretend to get their head shaved and then walk through a group of people as they throw rotting food at them and humiliate them. And honestly, this shouldn't be surprising to anyone. People got weird fetishes, and that was probably a huge turning point for a lot of people when they watch that, who are into humiliating fetishes like this. And they get a lot of people out in the field and just start treating them like garbage. And I'm assuming that is not a cheap sell, but in Game of Thrones, in the end, the real winners of the Game of Thrones are the people who are willing to shell out a lot of money for their BDSM fantasies. So who am I to judge? I'm definitely not judging. No judgment here. I mean, if I were gonna pick a Game of Thrones roleplay, it would definitely be me just riding on a dragon somewhere off in the distance and slaughtering people. But that's just me. Well, this is all the news I have for today. I still can't believe I'm doing this. It's been weeks. I thought I would have given up on this a month ago, and yet here I am filming another episode. So you guys seem to like them, so I guess I just keep making them. But thanks for watching, and if you got any morbid news stories for me, please send them my way, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!